So Nita, you're in Florida right now, and your staff and people you hold dear are in Ukraine currently. For anybody watching that hasn't really been following Ukraine politics for the last 10 years, could you give a real brief, because we know, I mean, people that do know that this isn't the first time that Russia is giving Ukraine problems. Could you give a tiny bit of a brief background, maybe from like 2014 in the last couple of years, kind of what
Yeah,
Russia has done? Not a whole history lessons, obviously, but just to give people like a little
okay,
bit of
just quick.
background.
In 2014, Putin took the Crimea, and then he took parts of the east part of Ukraine. And in the east of Ukraine, we have been at war since 2014. So that's when I tried to warn everybody to get out. I tried to get people out. Nobody believed it would happen because Russia's been on our borders for 8 years. And when he stepped it up, they just thought, no, he won't. So even Kostya, we talked to him midday that day, and he was laughing and saying, oh, CNN and BBC, it's just propaganda. It's not that bad. And then 6 hours later, we talked to him, and he was driving his family out to his father's village because they had an underground cellar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how quick, two of my people and their kids are in Poland right now. We did get them first thing. Lilia and her family, extended family, are all in the Carpathian Mountains, so they should be safe there. After tomorrow, even with those leaving, we'll still have about 7 or 8 people of ours in Bilosirka or 4C.
And you shared with me that a major prayer request is that you have a significant portion of your staff leaving at first light Ukraine time tomorrow in 2 vans, trying to get out of the country.
Yeah, a significant part of my staff and another Ukrainian family that I'm they're like family, and they're also taking a couple of people from my staff with them. So one's going to Poland, one's going to Romania, and gas reserves have been hit. Pray that they get enough fuel, for one thing. Secondly, they're targeting civilians now. So I'm just praying for God's hand to be over them, and praying when they get there. We're trying to make arrangements at the borders where they can load up both vans with food and medicine, because there is no medicine available. Pharmacies are all closed, and the food shelves are getting pretty empty now.
And can you tell us, I think that most people have kind of followed the news for the last week. Can you tell us kind of more firsthand from your staff what you've been hearing in terms of what's going on there in Bilosirka and what the people that you work with there are experiencing?
Yeah, I mean, at first they bombed the airstrip, which is about 3 blocks from my house over there. I don't know what condition my house is in. Then they bombed one of the military barracks there. And then they bombed a couple other things, but it hasn't been like it is in Kyiv or Kharkiv or Kherson. But this last few days, they've stepped up the bombing in Bilosirka now, and they're bombing everything everywhere. We're only 70 miles south of Kiev. So it's pretty scary, right? One of my staff lives on the 10th floor. She has an aunt that's disabled. I'm trying to get her to relocate to a village. There's people wanting to help, and she says, I can't get my aunt downstairs. I said, if you have to knock her out and have people carry her down, because you cannot stay on the top floor when they're, that's Valentina, she's one of the second. And so that's kind of the situation. And the baby house, I told you earlier. You want me to talk about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
We heard from Baby House Orphanage. Their director quit 2 months ago. They never got a replacement. It's total chaos. They have all these little kids, probably 4 years of age and under, to babies. They, when the sirens go off, they don't have people to get them down the steps. It's freezing, below freezing there, trying to get all these kids. They're just crying, and there's nobody to help. That really hurts. That, you know, we can't get money to our families right now that we help support. We can't get food to them. It's such a terribly helpless feeling, awful feeling.
Mhm. And you mentioned right before we came on that one of your staff, Sergey, who's in a wheelchair, has been navigating flights of stairs because the elevators aren't working.
Yeah, all the elevators were shut down the second day, so there's no more elevators. Sergey, I don't know how, is going down 7 flights of stairs and traveling on broken streets and sidewalks in a wheelchair, probably for about an hour and a half, to a home where several of our people are gathering, just kids with disabilities and their parents are gathering because it's a house. And then at night, he's going back home, back up. I don't know how he's getting up 7 flights of stairs or down 7 flights of stairs. I don't even want to think about how he's doing it.
Yeah, my goodness.
Mm.
Oof. And Pastor Kostia was able to get his family out, and now is he back?
Okay. Yeah, he got his family out, his wife and son. He just got back yesterday. Yeah, I don't remember if it took him 37 hours or something to get back. And he was able to load up with some food and medicines on his way back. He's the one that somebody in his church is going to drive our van so they can bring it back, hopefully loaded with food and medicine. The other van that's going the other direction to Romania is also planning to load up with food and medicines and bring back.
Definitely be praying for God's protection over those vans both ways, there and back.
Well, going into Poland right now, I understand it's backed up almost 40 kilometers with cars just parked there and left and people walking to the borders that far. So
Wow.
that's what they're going to be facing.
Mhm. Wow. So I have a lot of people asking, people from here, different churches and things, asking, how can we help? Is there anything we can do to help?
We're going to create a special accounting fund with God's Hidden Treasures to put money people want to donate toward the war. But right now, I've emailed back and forth with Norway a couple times today. Slava, who's going, has a lot of contacts all through Europe. I talked with his sister about, I want to connect with some people in Europe that are safe for me to transfer funds to, who will 100% spend the money on food and medicines. I don't have that connection yet, but we're working to try and set it up.
Mhm.
Right now, the only money we can get in the country is to wire transfer to the bank to pay salaries. Otherwise, we have no cash. We divided it up among our whole staff. We have nothing left now.
Okay. Well, as soon as you are able to find that contact and be able to set that account up, then I would be very happy to share how to donate to that with anybody who's interested.
Yeah, thanks, Christy. And if anybody wants to donate ahead of time, we will save that. I will not spend it till I know that it's 100% safe and money will get where it's supposed to go.
So they can donate now on God's Hidden Treasures website.
Just, put a little sticky on a check or something, or write in remarks for Ukraine war, and those will all go to that particular account, and it will be there when we can spend it.
Okay, perfect. Well, we have been praying for you, especially because you are on this side of it, feeling rather helpless while those you love are going through this. What are a couple of specific ways that people can be praying for you or for the staff, and specifically tomorrow morning Ukraine time, for those 2 vans that are going to be trying to leave the country? What else can we be praying for?
Well, I know they're all terrified. they're writing me, we're hope we make it, hope we get, uh, it's very hard for me that I can't be there and, hold them personally and reassure them I'm doing the best I can on Messenger and email. I'm talking to them constantly. I mean, like last night I didn't sign off till about 1:30 in the morning, and this morning it started first thing. I've been just constant. Mainly to try to listen, to calm down, and to say what you can do specifically over there, what they can do. Um, so for me, I'm having a very hard time getting rid of all the emotions I have. So, sometimes talking about it, I just start shaking all over.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, I'm I'm trusting God no matter what. It's really hard right now when I see what's happening. I do want to say one very positive thing. For many years, I've heard Ukrainians always saying, somebody needs to come help us. Somebody needs to help us to do this, somebody this. And I'm always saying, you're a big country for Europe. You have all the natural resources. You have to decide who you are as a country. And what I'm seeing these last, what is it, 7 days, 6 days, is a country being born. They know who they are now, and they are united like they've never been before. And the courage I'm seeing people kneel down in front of tanks, and then a whole village or town comes up and stands in front of the tank. I saw a young woman yesterday on social media, and a Russian stopped her, and there's a tank in the distance in the truck, and she starts screaming at him, "It's my land! It's my land! You go back to your land. This is my land." And this poor guy, he's trying to talk, and she's just one of the other soldiers came close, and then he walked away. He didn't want her screaming at him. And the funniest one, a farmer found a tank that had run out of gas, and he got his tractor and chained it up, and he towed the tank off, take it home, strip it for metal.
Oh, no.
So you have to try and find a little humor, but I'm so proud of my people in Ukraine.
Yeah.
They're so standing up, so brave.
Well, I know that I've had lots of churches that are connected with God's Hidden Treasures, messaging me and emailing me and asking me for updates and how they can be praying. So know that you have a lot of people holding you up in prayer right now and holding the people in Ukraine in prayer right now. Definitely.
Thank you, Christy. It means a lot. Prayer is the only thing going to save Ukraine.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else that you want to make sure that people hear in this time we've got you?
I just, I'm very specific in my prayers, and I'm seeing, a lot of Russians are putting down their weapons and crossing over to the Ukraine and refusing to fight. A lot of them are punching holes in the gas tanks of their vehicles and disabling them. I'm praying for more of that. What better way to stop Putin's Russian army than for them to refuse to fight?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just pray God's hand, just like we pray over the picnic every year. No rain in the park. I pray in God's hand. Please save Ukraine.
Yeah. Amen. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. I know that it's very emotional and you have a lot of communications that you're doing, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Christy. Thanks, everybody, for all the prayers. It's such an encouragement for the people in Ukraine.